Fancy lad.
Fancy lad.
Fancy lad.
Podcast, fancy lad.
Fancy lad.
Podcast, gonna talk to my friends. Gonna share a
Fancy
thought.
lad.
Gonna have a laugh. That's what I
Fancy
thought.
lad.
Fancy lad.
Fancy
Fancy
lad.
podcast. Fancy lad. Fancy lad
Fancy
podcast.
lad.
Yeah.
And we are back.
Yes, we certainly are, for sure, this time.
Mm-hmm. Back
Mm-hmm.
with another one of them block rockin' beats.
Oh, yeah, baby. We know you love them. We know that's what you came here for, so we're here to deliver.
Yeah, the intro song, so they already heard that, so
Right.
I guess there's no real reason for them to listen to the rest of the podcast.
No, probably not.
They got what they came for.
Yeah, but they're welcome to stick around.
Yeah, you know what? I think they're actually really going to enjoy this one.
Oh, really? Why's that?
Well, first off,
Mhm.
I mean, I would just like to announce to the world
Uh-huh.
that old Big Zo
Yeah.
does not have COVID.
Oh, you don't?
He was tested twice, and it came out negative both times.
Ooh, I'm sorry to hear that.
I know. The hundreds of friends and fans have been reaching out concerned for my safety and well-being, and I appreciate it.
You should appreciate that. That's nice of them.
It is nice of them.
Well, I, too, am glad to hear that you do not have COVID.
Yeah, sorry I didn't tell you sooner.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I was busy anyhow.
I know. Well, I'm happy that you let me in the studio, having not known for sure whether I had COVID or not.
Hey, what can I say? I'm a risk taker.
That's true. I've seen this guy
Mhm.
take some pretty hefty risks.
Let's say they're pretty hefty risks.
Like I've seen it. It was a pretty large size board,
Oh yeah.
and he literally took the game of Risk while I was playing it. And I was like, Tom, what the fuck?
Right. I know. Yeah. And again, I apologized for that. I didn't realize you were mid-game, which again I should have realized because
What do you think the board was out
know,
on the table with all those pieces on there for?
I know. That's why I said I should have realized that. Again, I am sorry that I ruined your dumb little game.
It's a game of world domination.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, I don't see that there's anything dumb about that.
Oh, no, that sounds awesome, actually. I thought it was completely different.
Oh, what did you think it was like?
I thought like you just like grew berries and traded them.
Is that a game?
I don't know.
Oh, I thought I didn't
It
know.
could be, though. Sounds pretty fun, though, right?
Is that like what they do in Animal Crossing or something?
I don't know what that is.
I'm trying to figure out where you got this berry shit from.
I don't know. Looks like there's like little pieces. They kind of look like berries.
All right. Well, if that's a game, I'd love to play it.
Yeah, I want to eat it.
Yeah, you could just go to the grocery store. You don't have to.
Oh, they have the game there?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Do you know what aisle?
It's next to the magazines.
Oh, right next to the magazine aisle. That's weird.
Yeah, I know. It is a little
It's a
weird.
very strange place for him.
Yeah. Well,
So what have you been up to besides testing negative for COVID-19?
fucking testing positive for being a fucking radical dude, bro.
Oh, hell yeah. And where did you go to get that test done? Oh, shit.
Fucking Clown Shoes Brewery,
Oh, really?
bro. That's right.
Hell yeah.
That's where I got this fucking mango American Colch from.
Oh, man. And that's looking extra delicious in that 12-ounce can.
12-ounce can with fucking Crunkle Sam right on there.
Mm-hmm. Great graphic.
Mm-hmm.
Love. Got a lot of love for Crunkle Sam. Oh, God, yeah.
Fucking Badass Academy fucking 101. That's where I fucking tested positive, bro.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. I didn't realize that they had like a whole medical thing there.
Yeah, you?
Not much.
Well, that's good.
I haven't been sick.
Yep.
So, just been sleeping normal 16 to 18 hours a day.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. As you tend to do.
Cranking, 16 to 18 Clown Shoes brand beers a day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And,
About 5 to 6 wanks.
mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, sounds like business as usual.
Beeziness as usual.
Yeah. Oh, bees.
Oh, Beeziness as usual. Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
You know what that makes me think of?
Bees?
Yeah, it makes me think of bees.
Like murder hornets?
Murder hornets, Bumble,
Mm.
good old-fashioned hornets.
Oh, man. The good old-fashioned hornets.
Oh, yeah. You gotta love those good old-fashioned hornets with their mustache trimmers and their big-wheeled bicycles.
Oh, man. That's my favorite part is the big-wheeled bicycles.
I know. When you see those good old-fashioned hornets
Oh,
rolling up on their big-wheeled bicycles through town,
They swarm.
puts a smile on your face.
Oh, yeah. Every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
But, I gotta say, some of my favorite fucking videos, dude, were the Beez videos. Do you remember those?
Oh, of course I remember the Beez videos. How could I not remember them? How could you forget them? God,
They're good.
yeah, they were good.
One of a kind. I got an idea.
Oh, really? What is it?
This is crazy.
Okay, well, I love crazy ideas.
Why don't we
Mhm.
contact Mr. Beez himself?
Oh, you're not thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
The head honcho.
Dude, do you think the fans can handle it?
The mastermind behind it all.
Think about it. They're already this sweaty and deranged.
I know. If we take the curtain away and reveal the Wizard of Oz,
Oh, my goodness.
let alone the Blizzard of Oz.
I'm sure the Patreon viewers and subscribers could handle that.
Yeah.
I don't know about the normal folk.
Your fair weather Fancy Lad podcast fans.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, hey, this podcast is ranking on visual arts in the United States currently.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Wow.
Well, briefly, not anymore. Fell out pretty quick.
Ah.
But briefly.
But still number one skateboard podcast, right?
Oh, yeah, obviously.
Oh, thank God. That I was worried about.
That would be worrisome.
Yeah, I know we just got into it, but damn, I don't know. What do you say we just take a quick break and then, I don't know, just get right to it?
Yeah, no, that sounds great to me.
I mean-
I want another beer.
I mean, unless you got really anything else you want to say to me.
I'm sorry?
Thanks.
Okay.
You know what? I was waiting for that.
Yeah, I don't know what for, but just throwing it out there. Seeing what sticks.
No, I think you know, you son of a bitch.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to go grab a beer real quick.
All right.
All right, we'll be right back.
Yeah.
Life as a southern sheriff can be pretty taxing. Taxing on the mind, taxing on the body, and taxing on the soul. That's why when I'm feeling my most decaffeinated and dehydrated, I reach for a mocha sombrero. Mocha sombrero. A Mexican-style chocolate stout with additions of coffee and vanilla. Alright, no, I'm trying to do the script here. Alright, if you're just gonna keep doing that. Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, it's got coffee. It's got coffee and it's got vanilla. I don't care if you're doing the back. It's got coffee and vanilla, and it's a stout recipe. And the malt flavors, the sweet vanilla. Jesus, oh my God. This is very distracting. Very distracting. If you want to know more about Mocha Sombrero from Clown Shoes Beer, why don't you go ahead and visit clownshoesbeer.com. Go on now, get it.
Yeah.
And we are back.
Oh, man, we are back. And that was a great break. I was happy to get another Clown Shoes brand beer,
Brought to you by Clown Shoes Brand Beer.
per usual, as we do on our breaks.
Russ, have you heard of this beer here, Clown Shoes Brand Beer? I don't know if you indulge in adult beverages yourself.
I have heard of that beer.
Oh. Well, they're a sponsor of the podcast, just to let you know. But hey, it's great to see you in the flesh. Welcome to the Fancy Lad podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I don't even know how to describe you to all the people listening right now because you're a fucking legend. But I feel like no one knows who you are. I had to explain to Tom 20 times who you were.
Yeah, we didn't do any credits in the videos or anything, so yeah, it's kind of caused that to be the case that nobody knows who we are for the most part.
Well, just for you know, I knew who Beez were, you know, and I'm familiar with the Beez videos. But I was like, which guy? Which, you know?
You know, I'm thinking we should start with the Beez videos to explain to the good people out there, to try to give them a frame of reference.
I feel like a lot of them should know the Beez videos.
They should.
Right.
They
It
should.
was, it
know.
was a while ago, so maybe
Yeah.
not at this point. I mean, there could be a generation that, you know, has not heard of them at all.
I mean, we're talking about a time pre-Fancy Lad, if you can even imagine a time like that, Russ.
It's horrible to think of.
I remember, okay, so the Beez 3 is my favorite, Unusual Protocol. And, I mean, is it fair to say you're kind of the, you know, head honcho behind it? I mean, that's what I hear through the grapevine.
Mm.
Tim, John, they all tell me that.
Well, it's one of those things which, I mean, I'm sure that is the case with you guys as well, where it really wouldn't be what it is without everyone's contribution.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's unfair to claim being the major source of all of it, but I would say my role is maybe more injecting a lot of really strange non-skateboarding content into it. That would be part of my role.
As far as the movie clips and the editing?
Yeah, and music and stuff like that. And yeah, I did do the editing as well. Although Josh Ellis, who does wiskate.com, he did some of the animation stuff, especially in Beez 3, like the Beez 3 intro, which I tortured him with some of my ideas. Like there's like there was like a hamster chef that I saw on I believe it was like some kind of like hamster food box. And I was like, can you cut that out and edit it moving around? And like, you know, it was funny because he was like really hesitant and resistant to start doing that seemingly pointless project. And of course, once it's done and you see it moving, it's like, okay, that was worthwhile. But yeah, I had to put him through some stuff like that, making some of my stupid ideas come to life.
Yeah, well, that's what I didn't know about the skating in general, because I feel like, especially during the time, I mean, I just pictured for some reason that there must have been one sort of Spielberging everybody, just saying, you know, on the sesh, hey, what if you did this? What if you did this?
I would
et cetera,
say,
et cetera.
Sure. I mean, I think that the premise of skating like that started with Josh Ellis and I talking about it. Definitely came out of like an era it was like the middle of the handrail only era. Like, you know, every magazine, there'd be like multiple 2-page spreads of like a 15-stair frontside lip slide on a handrail. And it was just like,
Right.
It was so monotonous to the point where it was like, it was getting frustrating. And I think we started talking about how much more appealing it was for us to watch videos like H Street Hocus Pocus, where when you watch those videos, you know, they were filmed during a time when there were fewer established rules as far as like what was cool or, you know, what was acceptable. People were still doing things that, you know, existed outside of this is how this is done, or this is what trick is done on this obstacle. So by watching those videos, you'd have these moments where it was like, it's hard to explain, but it's like, it was like mind blowing, and like seeing like people operating outside of a mindset that was so rigid in the time that we were watching skateboarding.
Yeah.
So we decided, like, you know, what if just talking about like how much fun it is to skate like that, to not be so rigid about your ideas of how to skate something or what tricks to do. And you know, just how much fun those videos are to watch. And it was like, you know, why don't we try to make videos that are more in line with that type of skating? And so I think that the idea of skating like that came out of that. But yes, as far as like, you know, the actual sessions, I don't think anybody involved needed to be told what to do, which is really cool that skateboarding works that way, where, you know, somebody who is technically much better than me at skateboarding still knows how to get really stupid as well. Like that's great that, you know, that exists within people who are still on a completely different level than me. But as you probably know as well, it's so much fun to have those people around you who are technically better than you. So if you have an idea that you know you're not capable of,
Yeah.
you can say to that person, like, I can't do this, but maybe you can. And of course they can do it immediately. So there was some of that.
You know, I was talking to Orange Man about this today. Where I see Fisk do it all the time to Matt. You know, there's something that, you know, he's out of practice. He can't do. So he wants to just live vicariously through Matt doing his idea or tricks that he comes up with. So he just constantly is trying to tell him. And it's kind of like the friend trick that you sent me that I didn't know wasn't you for FL3. Where me and Abe were saying, wouldn't it be great, skate artist, if it got to the point of like, which it kind of is when you think about like Ribs Man and Deer Man just being anonymous characters. But if you get to the point where you're a skate artist and it's like Damien Hirst or like Andy Warhol, and you're just telling everybody else to make the art for you.
Yeah. I mean, at a certain point with age too, it gets that way. Or if you're just like we talked about earlier, I mean, you said Fisk is not super interested in skating all the time anymore. So, you know, at a certain point, you know, if somebody else, you know, who's around is still in their prime and they're still like really focused on it, like why not? Yeah, why not ask them like to do what you're not up for.
Yeah, but he still loves it is the thing. And he was the one who showed me the Beez videos before they were even on the internet.
That's
right.
funny.
Yeah, he's where we got those. For sure.
He said that. I think he said that you sent him a copy, or somebody in your crew sent a copy to him. Like, to the Coliseum.
He had a DVD of it and he brought it to the shop.
Could be. It could be because of Foz, Mark Foster from Heroin Skateboards.
I'm familiar with the man.
Because, obviously Fisk was on that company, and Foz is good friends with John McGuire, who really I don't think many people would know about the Beez videos if it wasn't for John McGuire. He like loved the videos. I mean, at least partially because he knew everyone in them. But he like went out of his way to promote them and distribute them to people. So if it wasn't for him, we probably wouldn't be talking and people wouldn't know about the videos.
And Jeff Rowley did say like back in the day it was one of his favorite videos, right?
I don't know. That would be insane.
I swear I remember. So. I swear
really
I remember hearing that.
Chris,
maybe
Cole,
John Rattray.
John Rattray. Because him and John McGuire again are friends.
Yeah.
John Rattray is really smart and has a really good sense of humor, so he understood immediately.
I could tell because he likes Tom Waits, so he must be smart. just like Foss,
right?
Yeah. That's always the indication. I talked with Rattray about that, about like that sort of hocus pocus being part of the inspiration for skating in that mindset, and he understood immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he said that.
What about it? I mean, what part are you thinking about in particular? Matt Hensley's part, maybe?
Maybe not even that, because I think Hensley, when you watch his part, like there is some of that in it, but he's like so advanced, you know, like it's almost the guys who are like, to me, lesser known. And I saw those videos like for the first time when I was like basically like 18 years old, which is weird. So it was almost like that scene in Austin Powers where he's come out of the coma and he's like catching up on all the like past history
with the really long P.
Yeah. Like I had that moment with like all the old videos, like Ban This, like the junk skating section and Ban This.
Yeah.
Like to be seeing that for the first time at like, 18 years old or so, and side by side with like Dying to Live, which I mean, I can appreciate that video now, but at the time it just being more of the same, or videos like that, like handrail videos, seeing like the junk skating section and ban this, like Neil Blender, Lance Mountain, just being ridiculous. That seeing that side by side, it was like, well, obviously one of these is a lot more fun than the other.
Yeah. Have you ever seen PAL Propaganda?
I have. That I don't remember a lot about. Is there anything specific that
I just think that has the best artistic direction of like the non-skating stuff in every PAL video. So I was just curious because Greg, that was the one that Greg Stesic like had a big hand in making, and he was like the big in like driving force behind like the art direction of the PAL ads, where they all thought, I don't know if you saw the documentary, where they all thought it was like, really weird. And they're like,
I'll have to watch it again because that one's been a while for me. But like thinking about stuff that stood out in like Hocus Pocus, there was like a part where a guy like rode on a ledge toward the back of a bench and then like ollied out to a pivot stall on the back of the bench, and then from that ollied over the kind of seat part of the bench. And like again, like seeing that side by side just after watching like a really like rigid handrail video, it was like, that's way more interesting to me to take that approach than like to see the same, basically like high octane stunt.
Yeah, the early days of, it comes down to ingenuity, which I could tell you're a fan because you prefer T1 to T2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, in the early days when there was nothing, there was no rules, no canvas written, but also, everything was just so, just like the progression of skateboarding is just at the first time, like everything's being done. So there's really no trick too dumb.
Yeah.
Which after a certain point, it's like, obviously you get a standard. And, I always feel like skaters who are really good are worried about looking foolish, So that's why I was asking specifically about the Beez videos, about you telling the people what to do, but also, but Chris Cobra Cole, what's the deal with that?
Again, that's John McGuire worked at Black Box, like in the prime era of like Black Box and Zero. And so he was distributing it to those guys as well. And Chris Cole liked it. I mean, you say what you want about him. He's like,
I think he's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, he has a sense of humor and he was into it. And he ended up sending us some footage, or his filmer sent us some footage for it, which we used in Beez 3, which was kind of funny to have because it was just like a fairly surreal moment for us, because it was like we were making these videos just to like amuse ourselves and maybe annoy some people around us, and to have it result in like somebody like that being in one of the videos was very strange. But
it's like almost like a joke in itself.
Yeah, but it kind of made sense as well, because like retroactively, like when you read interviews with like pros who lived through that era and skated that way during it, it's like they weren't necessarily having fun at times either.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, it makes sense why this may have appealed to some people at that time who were in that position.
I think that well, first of all, one thing I want to say about Hocus Pocus that I don't know if you know is every young kid who like does like slappies and rides old school skateboards hasn't seen any video in the 90s.
Of course.
They've only seen internet videos, except they always say their favorite video is Hocus Pocus.
Huh.
Fun fact.
Yell Eggs at John Benton.
Yep. And I swear, I've heard multiple people to say that.
Yeah.
But it's weird. That's like their go-to. See, I consider the Fancy Lad videos more of a sort of like Plan B questionable inspired.
That kind of makes sense in some ways if you're being serious.
No, I am being serious,
okay.
but mostly not because of the handrails, but because of the late flips and the pressure flips and the whole vibe.
And because you're
90s.
You're putting immense pressure on people, like yelling at them during sessions to take it up a notch.
Well, absolutely. I mean, how else are you going to make a video?
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Did Michael Ternowski do that? I've never heard that.
I think those are the stories, yeah. And that's why like a lot of those guys got bummed out on that, specifically like Mike Carroll, Rick Howard, and kind of from what I've read and heard, that's like kind of why they, started what they did, because they were like, we've had enough of, being told we need to like push things further and further, and yeah.
Well, sometimes I have mixed feelings about that because, first of all, you've seen Plan B Questionable.
Oh, of course.
You've seen Goldfish.
Yep.
Which one do you think's better?
That's funny because I watched Goldfish again recently, and when I was younger, I would say absolutely Plan B Questionable is, was way more appealing to me because the ideas in there were much more advanced and inspiring. And I still love Questionable, but I think now when I take into account the fact that some of those guys maybe were not so happy or enjoying that process, I can look at Goldfish and how some of the stuff in Goldfish is like a lot smoother and faster, and I can appreciate that more. But I mean, yeah, it's hard for me to say like which one I really prefer because I love both of them. But like I understand what you mean. Like
I like Goldfish, but I love Questionable. And the reason why I bring it up is because I just wanted to mention like everybody in the talking heads being like, "Oh, David Byrne's such a fucking asshole."
Right. It's like, yeah, what were you guys doing before he joined?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Fucking shit.
Yeah, and then you happen to make some of the greatest music of all time. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, there's value in both. But I mean, the sort of the Beez videos and the carefree sort of, fuck it all mentality of, the status quo. I think it's summed up in that one clip you used from How to Get Ahead in Advertising.
Mm-hmm.
Where
I'm glad I've given up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was intentional. I figured it was sort of narrative. But
yeah, I would say there's a little bit of that attitude in there. And I mean, some of that, like, it's funny. Like, I've been thinking about that recently, how like in the process of those videos, like I skated like that for a long time and like mostly like that, where like I was kind of accepting that like all the stuff I was seeing in videos was like unattainable. And like those videos and that, like the Beez videos and that type of skating was like my means of like having fun in a skateboarding era when a lot of the stuff I was seeing was like unattainable and not really that interesting to me. So yeah, it was kind of a way of me giving up, and at that time, especially, like my skill level was not very high. So you got to find a way to have fun somehow, even if you barely know what you're doing.
No, but yeah, once you've given up, you're free to do anything that you want. And then the possibilities are endless.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, I remember it's funny because through like this recent quarantine period where we couldn't easily go to skate parks and stuff like that, started looking at and going back to a lot of really terrible street spots that we used to skate, including some that were in the Beez videos. And it brought to mind like some times where like one of my friends, my friend Gabe, who did a lot of the filming for Beez, it would be like late November, 11 o'clock at night, freezing, and we'd be like in front of a grocery store skating a bag of bagels, like in a parking lot, just having a great time. And to some extent, that's a combination of giving up and really going for it too. Because when you're out in cold weather skating a bag of bagels, you've done both, really. You've given up and you've fully committed.
Right. I was going to say it's commitment.
And don't think that we're no stranger to skating bags of bagels.
I know who I'm talking to.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Even pre-Fancy Lad.
Even pre-Fancy Lad, yeah. We were skating bags of bagels. Oh my god,
It's
this has
just-
got to be like 2005.
It's practically an age-old tradition at this point.
And also, I've always said a bag of bagels is essentially also like a 12-stair rail. So I kind of feel
It's-
like I've done 12-stair.
There's some physical properties to that specific skateboarding obstacle that,
Mhm.
you know, haven't really been documented. I mean, you can get a slide out of the plastic from the bag,
Mhm.
but the kind of firmness of the matter of the actual bagel will hold a stall. So, I mean, I don't think it's my place to kind of advance or, really showcase the capacity that bagel skating holds, but I think it is yours, and I pass that on to you. Or, obviously you're already experienced, but I should say more so that I encourage you to do so, please.
Well,
Thank
we appreciate
We
that.
really do.
And, I got to say that, there's some sort of, there's a reason why we're both in that article written by Jankum. There's some sort of kinship between us, whether you want to believe it or not, Russ.
Oh, yeah.
I believe it.
People always, well, especially people like when Fancy Lab first was popping up, people were always comparing it to Beez.
Right. I
You
forget
know.
what else. They would take Beez and they would say it's Beez combined with something else. Insert here.
Mm-hmm.
And that was everybody's initial reaction or comment to it.
Right.
Which, I was watching the Beez 3 and, maybe it's just because of the music that you used, but I remember this quote from Broderick, who owned Orchard Skate Shop, and he was saying, he was comparing skateboarding to being like musical genres, and he was saying if Fancy Lad was a musical genre, it would be noise music. And
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a good reference point because, during that time, we'll say the Beez stuff, we really started filming it like in like late 2003, 2004, or something like that. That was definitely a period of my life when I was going to a lot of noise music shows, actually. And that was kind of a time when that type of music was somehow reaching the mainstream more. That it culminated in a Wolf Eyes song ending up in an Office episode, which is very strange. Are you familiar with Wolf Eyes at all?
I'm not. And
They're from Detroit. Detroit.
oh
area.
wait, Wolf Eyes Psycho Jazz.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, we
Yeah.
are familiar with them.
The guy does the one guy, John Olson, does the meme page on Instagram. Insane
Johnny. Yes.
Yeah.
I did not know that they're in the Office. I did try to reach out to Insane Johnny when we went to Detroit,
right.
and tried to and was like, "Dude, do you want to skate?" And then didn't hear anything back.
But it was cool.
Yeah.
We stayed in a really shitty motel,
So everything worked out.
and it rained the whole time.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, so that stuff definitely did have an influence, and it's funny because that guy, obviously, I'm sure you're aware, has skated for a long time.
Yeah, that's
so
why I wanted to meet up.
Right.
Yeah. But it's interesting that all that stuff has a connection. I didn't even know that really at the time that I was going to see, Wolf Eyes and other noise artists like that. But yeah, so, and there is noise music in the videos. In Beez 1, there's a section with a Wolf Eyes and Hair Police song. That's the one where, I mean, nobody's watched Beez 1 for the most part. Josh always says that's the one that's for the fans.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's the thing. I was trying to find. I've been trying to find Beez 1 online.
Yeah,
Beez-
nobody wants any part of that.
Beez 2 and 3 are easy to find, but
Yeah.
and I know we have a DVD of
Mhm.
Beez 1 in the apartment somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's on that.
but it could be in
DVD.
anyone's room, so, and I don't know where it is.
Yeah, Beez 1 was definitely more so trying to annoy people. Like, we knew that we had a captive, or at least I knew. Some of the motivation for like even starting those videos was at the time, especially with that handrail era, and one of my friends owning a skate shop and hanging out in a skate shop on a regular basis, you'd get kids coming in who like teenagers, whatever, who would this happens in every skate shop. Somebody starts talking about what they did, and maybe like their tall tales, or maybe what their friend did.
Right.
Like, and there was a lot of bragging about like, wait until you see, my video with my friends. It's going to blow everyone away in the area.
Mhm.
And it was a really weird attitude that it wasn't like they were so much excited about skateboarding. It was like they were more excited that they were going to demonstrate that they were better than other people in the area, which to me felt like a really weird motivation for skateboarding. So immediately started to think about like, in combination with those thoughts about like the H Street style of skateboarding, no rules kind of stuff was more fun. Also, that type of skateboarding, forcing those kind of kids to watch that would really confuse and annoy them.
Mhm.
And I knew that we had sort of a captive audience, because kids are going to go into a skate shop, and if the video's on, they're going to sit there and mindlessly watch it.
Yeah.
And that is what happened. I mean, once we were done with that first video, I remember handrail kids coming in, and I kept the duration of the video pretty short. It's like 14 minutes. And they'd just sit there, watch the video, full attention to it, no reaction at all, maybe blink a few times at the end, and just walk out without saying a word. And it was really fun to observe that, because I knew that it was a little bit torturous and also a little bit confusing.
Weird
So, yeah.
that they wouldn't actively hate on it actually while watching it.
There was like a few moments where that happened, but the one like standout that I really loved that happened was like the first kind of skateboarding video I made was called Dropkick a Seagull, and it was like a fake documentary, basically like making fun of myself for being, because I didn't really start skateboarding seriously again. I skated when I was a little kid for a while, but like didn't really start again until I was 18, which is like an embarrassing time to try to learn how to skateboard again. Because like you've got kids who are like 15 years old who are better than you, who are looking at you like, how is this old idiot this bad at this? And so that video was kind of like making fun of myself being bad at that age. And we showed that video that contains a lot of me just skating like dumb stuff that was like embarrassing at the time, intentionally so. We showed that before a video in the handrail era that it was a shop video that kids were hyped up to see, because they knew it was going to give them, the handrails glory that they were looking for. And there's a part in that Dropkick a Seagull video where I'm skating these like kind of like a stack of 2 inches tall, a stack of these like 8 foot long fiberglass planks. And I was doing stuff like I did like a kickflip backside 5-0 on one. So it was like just serious enough, but a dumb enough obstacle where I knew a certain type of kid would read that as he's trying to cheat us. Like he's trying to make it look like he's doing something with substance, but get by on doing it something easily. And it got kind of the exact type of reaction that I would have hoped for, but would have never guessed the exact substance of it, which was this kid yelled in the theater, "He's skating planks on the ground!" Like in just teenage angst. And I loved it. That was like exactly what I was looking for. And there was definitely some kind of reactions that we'd observe like that in we never really had any premieres for any of the Beez videos, but at skate shops sometimes I would like sit off to the side and like monitor kids watching the videos and wait for kind of signs of something like that.
Yeah, it must be great just being able to see the reactions.
And does that have anything to do with why there's like no real like credits about who's doing anything in the video? Is it kind of just to be somewhat anonymous, so then you can have actually spectate and see what people think about it without them, maybe filtering their response?
No, that actually has to do with that same sort of glory thing that I was witnessing, like coming into the skate shop, like, and watching early, like, you know, as far as skateboarding on the internet, that was still kind of early, like 2003, 2004. So seeing like you know, okay, let's say like a file sharing program like LimeWire or Kazaa at the time. Like you go to try to download a video off of that in that era, what people would do is they would name the file name like, you know, some bigger video.
Oh,
And then,
I'm well aware.
and then you'd accidentally,
Right.
you know, on purpose, as far as the sender, you'd receive somebody's local video from their whatever. It could be like anywhere,
Right.
you know.
Sexy
that's how-
horny teen goes crazy on. I mean,
Right.
Yeah, but
exactly.
kids,
Yeah. Oh.
kids were doing that with skate videos. So you'd get a local video.
Yeah.
And I'm watching, you know, I mean, I'm obsessed about skateboarding. So even though it was like a dumb, like shitty local video from the middle of nowhere, I'd still watch it, and it was hilarious because it would be like a local video with a 5-minute long intro with credits. And it's like, this isn't good. Nobody knows who you are.
Yeah.
Why should you be like, you know, sure, put in credits like briefly, but to make it that over dramatic was like hilarious to me. And it really got across to me like that if nobody knows who you are, like it's not really necessary to broadcast that. So it was more like I felt like it was unnecessary, so I cut it out entirely.
Yeah. That's that's the exact reason the first Fancy Lad video we didn't use any names. And the same reason, just because I was like, I mentioned to Zach, or I was like, why would we mention names? We're a bunch of nobodies.
Yeah.
Like, aside from Colin Fisk. But other
yeah.
than that, virtually all of us, no one's heard about, no one cares, and didn't matter. You know,
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
And that's part of the reason why I didn't do any credits with like music titles or anything as well, because especially during that, you know, early 2000s era, things got really one-dimensional as far as like Modest Mouse was in every single video, and
horrible
you know,
time.
It's just bad whenever
Built to spill.
Yeah, I'm fine with all that stuff, but it's not a good thing when
everything becomes that formulaic.
Exactly. And you can tell that like that's having effect on kids as well. Like they're thinking like, you know, well, that's what's used in videos, so I guess that's all you do is you just use the same sort of stuff. So I kind of wanted to encourage kids to have to, you know, to not be able to be like, look at the credits and be like, oh, okay, that's what I should look up and that's what I should be interested in. I wanted to encourage more, if you like the sound or feel of that, go seek out in general more of, you know, that type of stuff. Like don't like look at one specific name and then, you know, only latch onto that.
Well, you know,
I think I'm going to say the exact same thing you are.
Oh, well, I mean, should we say it at the same time?
Well, yeah, I was going to say first, you know, you seem to be a pretty enlightened individual, and Tom and I would like to thank you.
Yeah, because
Because
you introduced us to Klaus Nomi.
Oh, wow.
And how did we do saying that at the same time? Was that good?
That was really good.
Oh, thank
you. Yeah, we've been practicing that.
Yeah, but he's that was the first time either of us had heard or seen Klaus Nomi in Beez 2. And I'm sorry to say we did go and seek specifically Klaus Nomi. However, you know,
it remains one of our favorite songs to this day. And set to that Crispin Glover dance scene from Friday the 13th.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
Genius. Stroke of genius, editing genius.
Yeah, it's funny, like, because I'm trying to think of like, where did I hear of Klaus Nomi? I'm gonna say that like a lot of things that I encountered that may have ended up in those Beez videos was the product of like having driving jobs and driving around like in a cargo van that had no tape deck or CD player and just having to rely on the radio, and getting into a college radio station that just had a variety of shows all day. And very likely that Klaus Nomi was played, at like 1:00 in the afternoon. And there's a lot of stuff that was in those Beez videos that was direct result of like just hearing something randomly and, maybe not even having the time to look up or wait for them to ID it on the radio, like say what it was. And then just like spending a year, like looking up like what that possible set of sounds could have been, or like a lyric or something, and that leading to other stuff. But I remember specifically there was one thing that ended up in Beez 3, the Deer Wizard at the end of Beez 3 says, let's have a little orange drink.
Uh-huh.
And that's from, I was driving around one night and I turn on the college radio station. It's WNUR, which is Northwestern in Evanston, which is near Chicago. And I just hear this like guy talking, like it sounded like it was from like the 50s or so. And he's talking in this weird stream of consciousness way. And I listened to it like, it was one of those things where I kept driving around because I was like, I have to hear what this is. And it was this guy, I think his name was Dean McGregor, and he lived in New York, I think in the 50s. And he like was a very bizarre sleep talker. And the stuff is unbelievable, like that he's like concocting in his sleep, like the narration that he's doing. And so he was like recorded. I don't know if this is like a hoax or not. I think it's actually real. But he was recorded sleep talking, and they made records out of it. And this was just playing on college radio at like 8:00 at night while I was driving around. And the importance of like exposing yourself to sources like that where you don't know what's going to be on is really important, I think. And I think that's what the Beez videos are a product of. And obviously they're a reaction to things like being really similar, but also a product of just very much keeping an open mind about learning about new stuff, or not running away when something sounds like really odd and foreign and confusing.
Yeah, that's good advice for anybody. But yeah, it's evident with the, I'm jealous personally from one outsourced movie clipper to another.
Mm-hmm.
I am envious of the deep cuts that you seem to get in those.
Yeah, that stuff, is the process there is like days on end of just losing my mind. Like there were times where I found clips and, I'd been looking through movies for so long that day. Just like 4 hours at a time of just like scanning through weird movies and stuff, that I would have to ask another person like Josh, like, is this even weird or funny? I don't know anymore. I've lost perspective from like just sifting through such weird stuff for so long. I remember one of the clips, I think it's in Beez 3, where there's just like a knight in full armor playing a guitar, and then he falls off a balcony. Like I've always really loved that clip because it works with no context at all, and it's very brief and it's very easy to understand like immediately. I think that is from a Italian TV movie adaptation of a Voltaire book. Like I don't know where I got that from. I think it was some weird torrent site where like they just like it's all exclusively like it was like just stuff you couldn't find anywhere else. It was a way of people like kind of making that stuff available. But yeah, I know I downloaded that and I know I had that at one point. I tried looking for it again and it's like, I don't even know if I'm imagining what that's from. Like if I just, but yes. It was like days and days of scanning through stuff. And also like the product of like that stuff, finding stuff like that, is those file sharing programs like from that era, the ones where you could actually directly communicate with people.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I would talk to this guy from Italy who just had an insane movie collection, and he was super generous with all of it. Like, he would say, like, take whatever you want at any time, and he had so much odd stuff. Like, that's where I was easily able to download stuff like Holy Mountain and El Topo and things like that. So yeah, I mean, having people who had all that stuff and were generous and, taking the time to, research and, that stuff is really important, to make an effort to learn about new things, but to also, that's something I think about a lot. Is it's great when someone's comfortable enough to ask about something. They don't try to just like assume they know everything, or like they don't want to have a discussion about it. Like, I've had weird moments with people where like I saw them Shazamming a song in my car instead of just asking me so we could talk about it.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff is really weird to me, because it's like I didn't, in that moment, like, I don't know what to do or say. Like, it was much more interesting, not because I want to like, demonstrate my knowledge of something, or it's just more fun to like talk about things. So I think it's, just in general, that was part of what went into the Beez videos, and part of what I wanted to encourage in people as well, is seeking things out, asking about things, assuming that there are people out there who know more about stuff than you, which I had to do. That's how I learned about stuff that's in those videos.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's why I got really into the sort of outsourced. I mean, like you were saying about college radio, just being exposed to this sort of unknown source. That's why I got really into all those. A lot of the clips being just from VHSs that you found at thrift stores.
Yeah.
And just being like, I know based on the graphic design of this movie that it's going to be a piece of shit.
Right.
And there's going to be some pure fucking gold clips that I can get from this. And just as a movie in general, just being that sort of like one of a kind uniqueness behind something being, it comes with something being so just low budget, it's like just doing it like these people just doing it by the seat of their pants. It makes it, no matter what, it's going to be really unique just by having so many flaws and faults within like the acting and the production and everything else. So, that became sort of an obsession, and a lot just more interesting than just because after a certain point you've seen so many movies, you're just like, it's almost the same, where it's like there's only so many great films.
That's true.
So then you start have to like you have to start finding the best of the worst,
Yeah.
Which is where that came from for me personally.
It's finding a really concise, powerful movie clip like that is like almost as good as somebody getting like a good trick, whether it's a funny trick or whatever.
For sure.
It's like,
and it happened to me. I bought the movie Zapped thinking that, and I was watching and I was like, holy shit, clip from Beez.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was, and that's funny too, because that's one that Josh and Tim, they lived together at that time. I think they always watched a lot of 80s movies, and they found that one. I think the stuff that I was looking through was maybe a little bit more like late 60s, early 70s foreign art stuff.
Yeah.
Because like, that stuff has like a reputation among just in general, maybe like people think it's like not going to be any fun to watch, but like there's so much freedom in those movies, like as far as like what they were putting in them, that like it gets weird and very ridiculous. And yeah, people should not think of those movies as like something that's like uptight and boring. Like they can be just as ridiculous as an 80s movie at times.
Right. I'm not too familiar myself, honestly, but
Yeah, it's, I don't know. That's definitely one of those things where like I think I spent a long time with those types of movies, making that assumption that I was, yeah, it's probably going to be good, but I might not be that excited like to watch it, or I might get bored during it. But the first couple times where I was watching one and there was something like really surreal in it, like that was kind of silly, yeah, I started to go into that stuff more and more.
yeah, I bet, because it's probably, I mean, otherworldly anyway, just because of the foreign sort of market.
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. It's sad that like things in terms of movies like can't be quite as ridiculous as they ever were. Like I always think about like that moment in the first Ghostbusters movie when the city's being like overrun by ghosts,
Yeah, love
and
that.
the ghost flies into the tailpipe of that taxi, and then they cut to the shot inside of the taxi, and
Yeah, it
the
was scary as hell.
driver's just suddenly some kind of zombie driver. Like
Yeah.
that's, I don't know, that stuff's so much fun. And I don't know, I it's weird. It's like maybe just like as a culture we're also like jaded at this point that we can't have moments like that anymore that like that work sincerely. It would have to be like framed as making fun of a moment like that instead of
Yeah.
it just being put in there like plainly.
Ironic or tongue in cheek.
Yeah, I miss that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to ask you though, just as just before we have this Zoom call is very limited, so I just wanted to ask you before
Sure.
it ran out. But so you did print boards though, right? In the third video, I saw you printed boards. Like, did you
Yeah.
have ambition to start a company?
No, not at all. That was a friend who owned a skate shop, and those were, I think he got rid of his skate shop and started just like a local board company, and he really liked the videos, and he was always looking for graphic ideas, so he was like, we should do Beez boards, and we already had a graphic that we were going to use eventually, I think, for the DVD covers or something. So we put that on there. And I think at one point we shrink wrapped some DVDs with the boards and stuff. So yeah, I think that there was like, John McGuire was trying to push to people like that we should start a Beez brand, or that they should like reach out to me about that.
I mean,
But
I was surprised that you didn't,
Yeah.
quite frankly.
yeah, I don't think I ever had that specific type of ambition. I think it was like, it's weird when you get, and you might be able to relate to this, because I know that you've done some stuff where, like you worked with Adult Swim and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the Beez stuff, I got the opportunity to do some like skits for a show called Stupid Face, that was on Fuel TV, and it was fun. And like we made a bunch of skits, and a bunch of the Beez guys were in it and stuff like that. But it was weird to see what that actually feels like.
Yeah.
Like you put in all this effort to make something, you edit it, etc., and then it gets like cut down, and to meet like network standards and time and stuff like that. And it started to kind of give me perspective on how you have to make compromises when you start getting closer to it being about money, and or having a brand or something like that. And I think that you know, we had so much fun making those videos because we were doing whatever we wanted without any restrictions, that I think I was always very hesitant to get into starting a brand or a company because I already had those feelings that it might involve a lot of compromise.
Yeah.
And then they were confirmed through that process of making those skits. So.
Yeah, but you were making those for somebody else. It's a little different when it's your own brand. I mean, also, I mean, yeah, I mean, there's probably pressure to compromise, but I mean, fucking Kurt Cobain never compromised, bro.
No, it's true.
Fucking
It turned out fine for him.
turned out fine for
Absolutely.
dude. Tony Hawk never fucking compromised, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Turned out fine for him, dude.
that's true. He's
Yeah.
got those remakes coming out.
All right, how about Sonic Youth, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm saying you don't have to. It's like, I feel like it's very unlikely to make money without doing it. But, I mean, something can evolve and mature, and I don't think that's necessarily compromising. I think it's just
Yeah. Well, I think that
developing something.
Growth.
Developing an idea. Yeah, exactly.
I think the way it was being pitched to me is that like someone else would be funding it who like already owned a somewhat bigger company.
Yeah,
So
that is a little different.
that screamed compromise to me, which I don't know what the situation is with Fancy Lab, but I'm assuming that
Fucking self-made, bro.
yeah. So you didn't have any of that involved. So yeah, that's a better way to go, I think.
Printed 50 boards and just kept it rolling from there.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. That's why it
Yeah.
took 10 years.
For what?
To
To get here?
get here.
In
right
the
here.
studio
In the
that we
studio
have.
right
This
here.
beautiful
Yeah,
studio.
Yeah.
Hey, I got to ask you because, all right, one of my favorite parts in any of the Beez videos, or by parts, I mean one of my favorite things that happens, the short circuit skit.
Mm-hmm.
Who made the Johnny 5?
I did
And
that.
And that is you in the skit, right?
In
We're in the-
what part?
Wearing the wig with the...
No, I believe that's Josh.
Damn it. Somebody told me that was you, but maybe
yeah,
it was...
No, I wasn't really. I was in the Deer Wizard costume and in the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man costume, but
Nice.
Oh,
not.
nice.
Yeah. I built the Johnny 5.
Hell yeah.
Genius.
Very, very good looking Johnny 5, I might add.
It's you know what's funny? It's like, and this is probably something that you can relate to as well. There's something like that comes out of trying to do something, but you're so inept that it comes out crappy in a way that adds character to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, I tried to make that thing, but I knew I didn't have a chance at making it really good. And it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't have studio money to make it.
Your vision
Yeah.
in your head is going to be pristine and perfect, but then when you actually see it,
Yeah.
you're
That was
like,
great. Wait, what was his head? It looked like some sort of modem or a router or something.
it absolutely was a modem.
Oh,
It was
perfect.
a-
Okay, that's what
It
I
was a
thought.
company. It was a company I worked for in the early 2000s that sold internet service, and that was their modem. And they went
Oh,
out of
hell yeah.
business, and I still had it around. I was like, I got to do something with this thing. And that
Oh,
was
yeah,
that.
I got a perfect idea.
That
Johnny
was
5.
that was one of the moments in my life where I was working full time, and I'd come home every night, and I'd be in a garage, and it was winter, and I'd be building that thing for like a couple hours a night in this freezing garage.
Mm.
And it's like one of those moments in your life where it's like, I might be losing my mind. Like that
Yeah.
this is a main focus of my life, like in my free time right now.
having to build the Johnny 5.
Right.
There's also times in your life when you realize that things are worth it. And the moment with that one was, I had told somebody in Milwaukee, this guy Nate, who was in the Beez videos, I told him I was going to build it, and his reaction was like, "You're not going to do that." Like he was like, "You're not," because a normal person or whatever is going to say something like that jokingly and not follow through. But
Yeah.
because I'm kind of obsessive about an idea, I will go for it. And what made it worth it was when I finished it, and I went to visit Milwaukee, and I showed him the photos, and he was laughing so hard, like as soon as he saw him, and it was like it was all worth it just for that response. Like,
Was it with the fake breasts?
no, the fake breasts were
Real?
What?
were all
I
real,
knew
all
it.
magic.
I knew it.
mean,
I knew it.
Fine.
All natural magic, baby.
yeah, those fake breasts were. My mom had them as part of a Marilyn Monroe Halloween costume in like the late 70s, like before I was born. Like, yeah, that's really like says, points out like a part of who I am is that my mom like kept these fake breasts, around and like passed them down to me. Like,
Yeah.
That is so
like
good.
you're gonna.
Well, you
need
never
these
know
at
when.
some
I was gonna say
point.
you never know when you're gonna need them.
It's true.
Yeah,
That's
you
the
never
thing.
know when you're gonna need an old modem and a pair of fake breasts.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sure you have a million questions for us.
I do actually. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, but yeah, I know. I mean, I can talk way too much, and I can definitely easily go into. We talked about that last time, Grandpa Simpson mode, where I'm talking about tying an onion to my belt.
Well, the Stonecutters are who make Steve Gutenberg a star.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, we may have not have even covered things you want to talk about because I ramble, but so yeah, if you want to talk again on record or off, I'm available.
Record.
Yeah, that sounds nice. I mean, I'll just say real quick that, I could tell you're a little older than I am, and I know you're going to scoff at this when I say it, but I'm a Short Circuit 2 kind of guy.
I haven't seen both of them enough to judge, but I think that Short Circuit 2 has a really intensely over dramatic scene where Johnny Five is getting like beaten up by maybe a gang, like in slow
Los
motion.
Locos.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll kick your balls into outer space.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're familiar.
Yeah, so that might be the superior Short Circuit, if on the basis of that song alone. So I'll have to review them because it's been a long time.
You know what? Please do. Is the thing. But yeah, like I said, like I was trying to say before, there's no way. I probably have had all these questions that I've had for years, literally, to ask you. So there's no way for me to convey to the people, the importance of this sort of niche, sort of corner in skateboarding that I feel like it's just so misunderstood, and there's just so much mystery behind it. But it's like, I don't know. It's like to find someone else who's navigating in these same murky waters or has in their life. It's like trying to think of a good analogy here. It's like seeing a sort of doppelganger, like in the wild. I don't know, like I'm trying to think of some analogy from The Simpsons, maybe the Shelbyville episode.
Well, then we'd be at
enemies.
odds.
Then we'd be nemesis. But you get my point.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Unless you're trying to just subtly say we're enemies with a.
Well, no,
it's like,
you bowed down gracefully, so you're not a competition to the company. So I appreciate that.
It's like Bizarro Seinfeld.
Exactly.
And I totally gave over my, my rights to bagel skating to you.
So here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm thinking, Russ. Real quick before we go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, see, this guy's got experience with Fuel TV.
That's true.
See, Adult Swim reached out to us to develop a show.
Right.
You're not thinking
That maybe
we team up with Russ.
right.
We
develop a show,
and
then we tell Adult Swim and Field TV to suck it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because we got our own show now.
Yeah, and then
we're
we
the
make it.
ones gonna fucking produce it,
Yep.
publish it,
And watch it.
and watch it.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Russ? Are we in business or what?
Maybe. I don't know. I not to keep you on too long here, but yeah, I wonder about like the oversaturation of content. It's like
Mm.
I think that it's, sometimes I think it's best at this point to just make things because you want to make them.
Right.
And yeah,
But
just
but this is what I'm saying. This is why I want to make it, is because skateboard related content outside of skateboarding,
Mhm.
few and far between.
Right.
And
Not
when it's
much.
done well, almost never. I mean, Grind, the movie, is probably my favorite movie of all time.
Mhm.
yeah.
But aside from that, I mean, there's only like 4 other skate movies, maybe 5.
And I haven't seen Betty on HBO,
Yeah, he hasn't seen Betty on HBO.
but it
I didn't even
exists.
know that had skateboarding in it.
So my point being, yeah, mid 90s,
Yeah, the main not even mainstream, but like just the exposure to skateboarding that people outside of skateboarding get is not from the perspective of actual skateboarders,
Yeah,
like directly. Yeah.
And mid 90s is the closest thing, but it's also way too serious. I'm saying something that's fucking fried, but
Right.
also from the perspective of skateboarders.
Right.
Closest thing might really be Jackass.
Yeah,
That's-
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Closest
spirit
thing.
of it.
Closest thing that people that like everyone has fucking seen for sure.
Mhm.
So you think about it.
I'll think
We'll talk. We'll exchange. I'll send you my notes. All right, and see what you think.
We'll do lunch.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, yummy.
Are you out in Milwaukee or Chicago?
I live in the Chicago suburbs.
Yeah. All right, I'll
So
fly out. I'll fly out there tomorrow. Don't worry.
Actually, from basically the same area as Matt and Gene.
Really, Carol
I don't know.
Stream?
Close to there. Really
Oh.
close. Yeah, I don't know if you ever knew that, but yeah.
No. John might have mentioned it to me. He's a bit of a chatter. He talks about you. Talks highly about you.
He's like,
John McGuire.
yeah, he's the best. He's like, I've never had anybody around like that who will like.
He's
Give
the
you-
reason why you're on the podcast right now.
He's the wind beneath so many wings, not just mine.
Yeah.
He's such a great source of positive reinforcement. There's not a lot of people like that, but yeah, he's really
No.
good at that.
No, there's not. Yeah, I know. I mean, I think we should, continue this another time. But I just want to say it's been, an honor and a pleasure. And this is probably the most excited I've ever been to actually interview somebody.
That's funny because I feel like I'm so monotone and boring.
Yeah. Just for my own personal interest.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, and thank you for making the Beez videos, because those changed our lives.
That was like BC. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for continuing on the tradition of going out there and skating stupid stuff like bags of bagels.
Getting weird.
Man, I'm getting
You
hungry
gotta-
just thinking about it, honestly.
The only other thing I'm going to say to you is, you can look forward to the new Fancy Lad video coming out next month, Buster.
Oh yeah.
I will be.
Oh,
Didn't know that was coming.
Exactly. So I just wanted to tell you,
Mhm.
okay?
Yeah, and all the listeners.
All right. It's been a couple years since we made a video, but we're still doing it begrudgingly to the public.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Oh, there's also going to be an upcoming episode on Thrasher through the new Man Ramp series, whatever that ends up being
That's
called.
true. That's true. And one last question too for you. Do you ever think to yourself, "Damn you, Tim Olson, for stealing all the heat from the Beez videos and starting your own company? Why wasn't it me, Tim Olson? Damn you, Tim and Eric of Roger Skateboards fame. I made you and I can break you at any time, you pieces of shit."
No, I'm guessing that Tim, if you asked him about it, would say that running a company is probably pretty annoying at times. So other people, and yeah, I don't want any part of that. I just want to get in a Deer Wizard costume, make some fake breasts appear.
Mhm.
That's more my thing.
Well, I wish you did that more often.
Oh man,
So-
sounds like the dream.
That's all I'm going to say. You know, I know you didn't have too much of a hat in wasps, right?
Yeah,
Did you?
I mean that was Josh's project for the most part. That's a product of me like dragging my feet on making a Beez 4 because my ideas were like a little bit maybe too ambitious to be tolerated.
Mhm.
So I wasn't gonna make a Beez 4 unless we were gonna do some really extravagant stuff. And he got tired of that's all the footage that he filmed. So I was like kind of holding his footage hostage. So he said, I need to do something with this footage, which is fine with me. He filmed all of it, and
Yeah.
I like the video, and it's good. And that footage needed to come out sooner or later. So
Well, all I'm going to say is I'm hoping to see you two reconnect on Beez 5. Because, when you two get together, the magic that happens.
Mwah.
See, it's not just about you. It's about
Fingers?
fingers.
Right.
no, it really is like it is about all of the people that are involved. It's definitely not all me. Like
Yeah.
it wouldn't be what it is without everybody who's involved and their, unique ideas and everything. So
Yeah. Well, Russ, once again, I really have to pee.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to have to say it was a pleasure having you once again.
Yeah, it was. Thank you. Thank you so much again for being on the podcast.
And you got my number. Anytime you want to talk shop, bro, I'm not doing anything.
I'll be texting you some really dumb movie clips. So
Please do.
thank you for having me.
All right.
Thank you. And hey, all you listeners, thanks for listening. But we got to go pee.
It's true. And you know what? Well, maybe we'll have you back on. Maybe I don't know. We gotta wait a while. This is a little fresh, but
Yeah.
Say same time, same place. 2021.
Sure.
All right, sounds good.
Bye. Thanks.
All right, later.
Uh,
Yeah.